You don't chase them because they're special. You chase them because they withhold. The less they give, the more you crave. And if you grew up where love was inconsistent, it wasn't given to you fully, you learn to handle rejection like something that doesn't hurt. It's just something that's familiar. My letter today is from a man I'll call Sean, and he writes, "Hello, Anna. About a month ago, I caught my wife in a lie. She'd been staying late at work, but afterwards stopped at a male coworker's house for a while without telling me." All right, I've got my fairy pencil here. I'm going to go through and circle things I want to come back to on a second reading, but let's go through and see what's going on in Sean's life. He says, when I confronted her about it, she revealed that she hated being at home and she was desperately seeking some space. She said she still loved me, but didn't have any romantic feelings towards me and didn't see that changing. And when I asked to see her phone, she said that she didn't want to do that because it felt like an invasion of her privacy. That was a tough one to swallow, but I accepted. And while this is sketchy behavior, for some reason I do still believe her when she says nothing was going on. I've kept texting contact to an absolute minimum. We've been married for about 2 years, and she always told me I was the only person she ever dated that she would have married. She's in the military, and we moved overseas about a year ago. I've had trouble finding any work, and she told me that she feels like she's holding me back from living my life because I married her. We still live together and will occasionally watch movies or go out for dinner. And in these contexts, everything is great and just like it's always been. The problem is that she will leave constantly without a word and doesn't want to say where she's going or who with. It's been quite devastating at times, and I've been left to take care of our animals by myself. She's gone on a few trips, however, for multiple days and did tell me where she'd be. The first time she offered to send me pictures to prove she was telling the truth. I didn't ask for this. It's been very hot and cold. I don't want to get divorced, but I don't know how to proceed. I'm feeling lost because while things have been a little rocky for a few months, we've always had a very honest and healthy relationship previously. Sorry for the long email, but if you had any advice or insight, I'd be really appreciative. Thank you. Sean. All right, Sean. Oh, gosh, my heart hurts for you. What a terrible situation. I'm going to have to show up with some tough love today because, Sean, you're in denial. You're holding on to something by believing that there's no way she's lying. And, you know, it's pretty obvious from the outside what's going on here. I always have to, I'll give you the caveat. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychic. I have no idea what she's doing, but everything you describe here, she's totally with somebody else now, and she hasn't let go of the marriage yet. It seems like maybe she's waiting to see if this is going to, continue with the other person, and then that will be it. She's treated you with terrible disrespect and a lack of caring. And this thing where she says that she feels like she's holding you back from living your life. On the one hand, I felt like that was just such a classic thing where you blame somebody else, or she's cheating on you, and that she's trying to play like the person who cares about you and say, I'm holding you back. But her behavior is, canceling the marriage that you invested your whole life in. So I feel like that's dishonest of her to blame that. But on the other hand, I sort of agree. You are holding yourself back, and you're not living your life. You're staying there, taking care of animals all by yourself, wondering where she is, trying to be silent, trying not to communicate too much, accepting her thing that you don't really get to know exactly what's going on while she comes and goes without telling you anything. So, I hate to tell you, Sean, from the outside, I would say I'm 95% sure, yeah, she's just seeing this other person, and it's a matter of time. And if that whole thing collapses and she comes to her senses and she should happen to say, Sean, I'm really sorry. I really hurt you and I betrayed you and I realize now I want to work it out with you. Could you even do that? Do you think you could be happy with her? What people do in a case of infidelity is they go to counseling. This would be like a number one priority for two people who want to work it out, or at least who want to get to the truth. But the thing is, she said, when you confronted her about just going to a male coworker's house, she said, look, she blurted it out. I hate being at home. That's pretty bad. She desperately wants some space. Okay, what does that mean? She still loved you, but didn't have any romantic feelings toward you. So you're like a roommate to her. Okay, this does happen to people, but she has called it. This is how it is. She doesn't have romantic feelings for you, and she's AWOL a lot of the time, and she won't tell you what she's doing, and you can't see her texts. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I want you to be in the truth, Sean. Like, she's already moved on here. She says nothing was going on. You say it's sketchy behavior. It's more than sketchy behavior. It's only sketchy because, like, sketchy means it's like, could something be going on? It's obvious something's going on. And if she says nothing's going on, I just don't think that's true. I would imagine she feels guilty because you moved all the way to this other country. You don't really have your life established there. It's all about her life. I think the thing to do here is to move on. Now, I'm very like, work it out in marriage, work it out. If she will work it out, like you could ask her and just say, look, are you willing to go to counseling and try to save the marriage? And if she's not, you have your answer. You have your answer. She says that you can still live together and occasionally watch movies and go out to dinner. So that is that's exactly what a roommate is. And in these contexts, everything's great, just like it's always been. But see, probably everything hasn't been great. The coming and going, doesn't say where you are, leaves town sometimes, tells you where it is, offers to send pictures, the whole thing. Like when it comes down to sending pictures, it's like, trust is broken, my dear. It's broken, but you don't want to get divorced. So I just want to invite you to ask yourself, Sean, why? Why don't you want to get divorced? I'm sure you have your reasons, and I get it. It's a terrible thing. It's really hard. It's against everything that we promised, that we were promised by the other person, but you don't know how to proceed and you're feeling lost. And because while things have been rocky for a few months, before that, you always had this healthy relationship previously. So I don't know what happened. I feel like you're a little bit hiding from the reality of the situation. And for the sake of your own dignity, even if she should come back later and say, can I talk to you? Can I work this out? For right now, for you to keep living with her, I just think that's not good for you. That's my opinion. You asked my opinion. It's my opinion. You don't have to do anything I say. You get to follow your heart on this. But yeah, I don't think she wants you there. And I think it's not good for you to be there. And it sounds like you're in this foreign country. I don't know if you even speak the language. That would be so isolating. And it's kind of a recipe for a person to go on a downward bender, of whatever happens to you when life gets this hard. Is it depression? Is it substances? Is it, self-harm? What is it? It's time for you to get some support. Sean, I want you to be around people who totally love you and care about you and who you can talk honestly with what's going on, who don't demand silence and pretending and denial about this thing where you're being completely neglected on every level. The whole thing has fallen apart before your very eyes and you're just hanging out in the ghost house of where it was. So it is sad. And it sounds like you have abandonment wounds that would make you want to stay and will kind of play tricks on your mind to rationalize why it might be a good idea. But of course, you feel lost. You feel lost. And what happened to the good thing? I don't know. But some people, even if they're good for a while, they're not good long term. And possibly there's been other stuff going on beneath the surface and you didn't have good enough communication then. You didn't tell me about your past, Sean, but I'm going to guess that you had to tolerate some pretty neglectful behavior in the past in your life. I'm assuming during childhood. That's the people who watch my channel. And maybe you got very good at it. You got good at reducing your needs and trying to save relationships at any cost. But as adults, we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that. We get to be around people who love us and support us and get us and would never want us to have to be treated this way. That's what a friend is. A friend has your best interest at heart. So I think sadly the friendship has gone too. And I don't want to give you false hope, but I just want to be honest and say there are situations where, it turns out later that something was going on and the person comes back. But I think it would be wise not to wait for that and just to really, really focus on what would make you feel supported and surrounded by people who care. And get out of this isolation and get out of this demeaning situation where your feelings are not being considered, where your self-respect are not being considered, where the promises that you made to each other by getting married are not being honored before it eats your soul. So that's what I suggest to you. what I want to give you, Sean, not that you should be dating right now, but you might want to think about when you were dating, did you see these red flags, right? These red flags that show up when you first meet somebody. And so sometimes we can think back on a relationship that's gone badly in the end and go, were there signs before that I didn't see them? And this, when you can see the truth about this, it is like gold. When you can see, there it is, they told me this and I didn't get it. If you can learn that, it will jumpstart your healing so that you can transform the part of you that is, just like refuses to see the red flags and then stays when they're mistreated. That's not who you want to be. You want to be somebody who stays away from people who are not capable of making real promises to you and who gets away when they begin to treat you in a disrespectful, cruel manner. It's called Red Flags to Watch For When Dating, and I'm going to put that down in the second link in the description section below. You can always see these two lines up there. So I put two special links, but the most important ones to go with each video. So the Red Flags download, it's free. You can get it. Second link there. Now, for anybody watching this, if this has happened to you before, it could be that trauma is doing this to you. Trauma has a way of leaving a very distinctive pattern of symptoms and sort of self-defeating behaviors in us around dating, where stuff happens like it happened to Sean. And so I have a quiz that lists a bunch of signs that trauma in your childhood may be affecting the way that you have relationships now. If you want to see if there's resonance in there for you in these symptoms, and you can see, how many of them are affecting you, perhaps, I'll put that in the very first link in the description section below. So right below the video, you're going to see a couple of links. Dating quiz, and then the list of red flags you can watch for. I'm leaving you equipped for this one, everybody. If you like this video, I've got one that you're going to love, and it's right here, and I will see you very soon. Does the fear of abandonment or of being alone cause you to stay in negative relationships, staying way past when we wanted to leave, but the thought of leaving was unbearable?